We want to now look at what happens when we rearrange expressions, and so this is an excellence level skill. Okay, so let's have a look at our examples. So example number 1, it says make x the subject of y take away 4 equals 3x plus 2. So when it talks about make x the subject, what it's saying is we want to rearrange this equation to get x equals, and all the other stuff is on the other side. So we want the x's on the left and everything else on the right. So let's think about that. So I'm going to take this 3x and I need to move that to the left hand side. The y needs to move to the right, and the minus 4 is also going to need to move to the right. So that's what we want to do. So let's take this 3x. If it's a positive 3x on the right hand side, when we move it across, it's going to become a negative. So negative 3x equals, now the 2 is going to stay on that right hand side, so that's fine. The y is going to also move across, so it was positive, and now moving across is going minus y. Also the minus 4 is going from being a minus 4, moving across is going to become plus 4. So now let's just do a bit of simplifying. Minus 3x equals, now 2 plus 4 gives me 6, take away y. Now what I want to do is I want to get rid of this negative 3. So when I write minus 3x, that means I am multiplying by negative 3. What's the opposite of multiplying by negative 3? The opposite of that is dividing by negative 3. So I'm going to divide every term by negative 3. Okay, what I do to one, I have to do to everything. So negative 3 over negative 3, that cancels to leave me with an x on the left. 6 divided by negative 3, well 6 divided by 3 is 2, and I've got a negative sign. Y divided by 3, I'm going to leave as y divided by 3, and I've got a subtraction and a negative, so negative times negative makes a positive. And I can leave the answer as that, or I can write the answer as x equals y over 3 take away 2 and just put that positive in front. Either or, that would be fine. Another alternative way to think about that is some students don't like dealing with negatives. So let's just take this whole original equation and let's just literally take those two sides and flip them upside down. So I'm going to take that whole 3x plus 2 and move that to the left. I'm going to switch that around with the y minus 4. So all I've done is pick up both sides and swap them over, and therefore that's ended up with this. Okay. Now I can do the same thing. 3x equals, leave the y minus 4 alone, and that plus 2, that needs to move across, and it's going to become minus 2. So 3x is equal to y take away 6. Now I want to get rid of the 3 in front, so I can divide all of the pieces by 3, and so I'm going to be left with x equals y over 3 minus 2. Now at this stage, another way to write that would also have been to leave that as y take away 6 all divided by 3, and that is also, so we've got a number of two different options of how you could write these answers. They're both the same, they're both just written in a slightly different way, but it's exactly the same equation. So there's example number 1. Let's now look at example number 2. So it says make y the subject of y take away 4 equals a half bracket x plus 3. Okay, so make y the subject. So I wanted to get this negative 4 and take that to the other side. Alright, so leave the y, leave my equals half x plus 3, and from a minus 4 it becomes a plus 4. Now what I want to do is I want to combine this together, because I can see if I expand out a half times 3 plus the 4, I've got some numbers there that I can combine together, so I can simplify this further by expanding out the brackets. So I'm going to multiply everything inside this by that value of a half. So a half times x is a half x, plus a half times 3. Well, what's a half of 3? Half of 3 is 1 1/2. So you can either write it as 1.5, or you could write it as 1.5, or you could write it as 3 over 2. Any of those form, it's the same number, just represented in different ways. They're all equally acceptable. So I've expanded that out, then I've got this plus 4. Now we just need to simplify the last step. Y equals a half x. 1.5 plus 4 is going to lead me to 5.5. And again, you could write that as 5.5, or you could write it as 5.5, or you could write it as 11 over 2. Any of those three forms are acceptable. Okay, let's take a look at example number 3. And it's saying make z the subject of y plus 1 equals 5z take away 7 over 3. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky now. And what we want to do is we want to get to the z because we're trying to make z the subject. But I'm not allowed to get to that z until because all of that is being divided by 3. So I need to get rid of this divided by 3 first. What's the opposite of dividing by 3? Multiplying by 3. So I need to multiply this side by 3, and I need to multiply that side by 3, and I'm multiplying all of that by 3. Okay, or equally you could have said multiply the y by 3 and multiply the 1 by 3. Works out to be the same. So those 3's will cancel to leave me with 5z take away 7 on the right hand side, and on this side I've got 3 times y plus 3 times 1, so that's going to give me 3y plus 3. Okay, now I'm going to do the cool little trick that I did before, and I'm just going to, I want to keep z positive, so if I take all of that, switch it over, take all of that, switch it over, I literally just switch that backwards and forwards, and that's going to give me 5z take away 7 is equal to 3y plus 3. I've just switched the whole thing around. So now I've got my z on my left. I need to get rid of this number. So that take away 7 needs to move across. So leave the 5z equals 3y plus 3, and that minus 7 goes across and becomes plus 7. So 3 plus 7, let's combine that together. So 5z equals 3y plus 10. Now I want to get rid of the 5 because I'm trying to get z by itself. Remember, that's my goal, z by itself. So to get rid of the 5, I need to divide everything by 5. So that 5 just cancels to leave me with z. Then this side, we can either leave it as a whole fraction like that, or you can separate it out into 3y over 5 plus 10 over 5, in which case you get 3y over 5 plus 2. So you could either leave it at that step, or you could leave it at that step. Okay, so you can either have z equals 3y plus 10 over 5, or you can have z equals 3y over 5 plus 2. They're both equally acceptable. Okay, one last example. So example number 4. We've got an equation there, v equals pi r squared h, and it says make h the subject. So we want to get h by itself. So again, I'm going to do the little trick where I want to switch those around. So I'm going to have pi r squared h equals v, just so that I can get h on the left hand side. Now I want h by itself, so what do I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of pi r squared. Pi is just a number, 3.14157 ... We just express it as a constant by writing it in this form here. But if in order for me to get rid of pi r squared, I need to divide the side by pi r squared. If I divide this side by pi r squared, I've got to do exactly the same to the other side. The pi's then cancelled, the r squared's then cancelled to leave you with h equals v over pi r squared. And there's your 4 examples of how to rearrange.